What's up, Pirate Nation? I'm Matt Ambrose. Welcome to a brand new edition of Hall Talk. This past week, the men's basketball team went 1-1 at the NIT season tip-off out in Brooklyn with a loss to Rhode Island and a win over Vanderbilt. What adjustments need to be made by the team heading into a tough week of matchups? On the other side, the women's team went 2-0 at the Shoe Thanksgiving Classic, taking home the tournament title. Jaquan Jackson was named MVP of the tournament. Can the Pirates keep their momentum going throughout the rest of non-conference play and into Big East play? Find out as my panel and I will discuss all of this right here on Hall Talk. Welcome back to Hall Talk. I'll now introduce my panel here. It's Matt Lamb and Chris Famularo. Guys, how you doing tonight?
Great, how are you?
Doing very well. Let's get right into it. The men's basketball team went 1-1 in the NIT season tip-off in Brooklyn this past weekend. Lost to URI 75-74 and a win over Vanderbilt last Friday night 72-59. But the theme early on in this season has been the slow starts for this team. It got off to a slow start in the first half in each of those games. What do they need to do to really fix that and get off to a better start right out of the gate? Chris, I'll start with you.
I would totally agree. I think it's been now a running trend through all of the games, but I think we need to have this team is very good at passing the ball, getting around the court. I think if they continue that process, get that going early, and step up on defense in the first half, I think that will kind of give this team a little bit of a lift. And really state the fact that they're coming into these games ready to play. It seems now that they go through the first half being mediocre, and then they come out into the second half and they're on fire. We've had multiple games where they go on 10-0 runs, 8-0 runs. So they either need to find out what's working for them in that half, in like the half talk, or to just find something new to get this fire going in the beginning.
Yeah, I beg to differ. I think it's the defense that's really stepped up early on, but it's the offense that's really struggled. I think the Pirates have to establish themselves early on the offensive end, whether it be one or two players really taking control early or a couple plays that really work well for the team right off the bat, whether it be Desi Rodriguez, Angel Delgado, whoever it may be. As long as the team establishes themselves early out of the gate, I think they'll be able to get some more buckets and really help out that defense.
And this was the Pirates team that over the weekend in that NIT season tournament gave up 54 points in that first game in the first half to that Rhode Island team, so something obviously the Pirates need to change up there. Let's switch gears now to Kadeen Carrington. At the point guard position through 6 games so far this year, 10.2 points per game, 4.3 assists per game. He's had problems shooting the ball, though, just 20% from downtown. I'll start, let's give him grades here so far. 6 games through the year at point guard. Chris, what's your grade on Kadeen Carrington so far?
Well, I know we did this a little earlier on in the season. I gave him actually B-, I believe, back then. I would now bring him up to a B. He's still in. We're still also very, very early on. I don't agree with a lot of the people who are judging him so harshly through 6 games. I think it's a little unfair to Kadeen. So I would give him a B. He definitely needs to increase his shooting percentage. If he can do that and really come through with the points as a point guard, I think that'll really help this team and give some backup to Desi, who's been outstanding so far throughout this year. I think if Desi gets backup from Kadeen and even maybe Angel, I think we could see an explosive offense. They've been a good offense, but it's because of 1, 2, at best 3 players with Miles Powell when he is shooting well from three-point range. But I think right now, if Kadeen steps up, you'll see this offense start to be unstoppable in certain games.
Yeah, I'm going to leg up on you, Chris. I'm going to say B+ here for Kadeen, only because of the fact that as a ball handler, as a facilitator, Kadeen Carrington, I think, has been better than we've expected so far, averaging 4.3 assists per game to lead the team. He's been just really good so far with just making sure he has smart passes, good decisions, 26 assists, just 9 turnovers so far this season, much better than Isaiah Whitehead when he transitioned from the 2 guard to that point guard. So in that sense, I think Kadeen has been doing a really good job at the point guard, and that's why I go with the B+.
I've been one, I agree with Chris, that has been a little harsh with the criticism of Kadeen Carrington so far. I'm going to give him a B- right now. I think he does, like you said, Chris, need to fix the shooting woes he's had, just 20% from downtown. But he is shooting 38% from the field. I think the impact of him having to distribute the ball has hurt him a bit. But long way to go in the season for Carrington at the point guard. Let's go to Desi Rodriguez now. Leading scorer on the team, 17.8 points per game. And he had 27 last Friday night against Vanderbilt. Has really been able to put this team on his shoulders at points. He did it against the Commodores last week. What kind of impact does he bring to the table? He's really been that guy. Like I said, the Pirates haven't had that guy in 2 years since Isaiah Whitehead that can just take a game over. Can Desi Rodriguez be that guy?
I would absolutely agree. I think the number one thing that people were talking about with this team is the depth and the veteran status of this squad. Even Desi is being, as a junior, he has now stepped up, I think, ahead of Angel, ahead of Enzi and Ish, of being this outstanding leader to the younger guys on this team, like Kale and Sandro. I think he's really stepping up, showing that if you go out with an attitude and an aggressiveness on this court, that you're going to be able to prove a point in non-conference play. And I'm really excited to see how he's going to participate with this team during Big East play. I think that's really where we're going to see whether or not Desi is really this leader that he's being in these first few games.
Honestly, Matt, I think Desi Rodriguez is the best player on this team. And I say that because Angel Delgado took monumental strides last year, and the way that he elevated his game was great, but it's become a little bit predictable. I think Desi Rodriguez has more dimensions to his game, and in that sense, I mean, freshman year to senior year, his three-point shot, the way he shoots the ball, the way he scores has been completely different. The way he drives to the basket now has been almost unstoppable from the left side of the rim, working on that right side, but from the left side, he can really get to the ball really well, and in that sense, I want to say Desi Rodriguez is going to continue to be that player who hits clutch shots. He did at MSG last year against South Carolina and on a few other occasions, and will continue to do that throughout the rest of the season. I think it's going to be the player that this team needs to look to in those situations.
And Chris, you brought up the bench. This Seton Hall team so far this year, or going into this year, talked about the depth this team had off the bench with Miles Kale, Sandro Mamukelashvili, guys like that. Even Jordan Walker is out with an injury right now. But nonetheless, depth on this team was key coming into this year. In that NIT tourney, just 20 bench points between the two games combined. 8 of them came from Michael Enzi in Friday's game. So guys like Sandro and Miles Kale, what do they really need to do to step it up?
I would say Sandro has been very impressive on defense. At least in the first few games that we've been able to see him participate. He definitely needs to, I would say, learn a little bit from Angel, be a little more aggressive in the box, and go more for offensive rebounds. I know he's very good with the defensive rebounds, but if he steps up on offense, which I guess it's a running trend that we're talking about during the show, but if he steps up on offense with rebounds and he gets a little bit better with his passing, I think that will be the best thing that Sandro can improve upon.
Some stats here, Matt. In 15 minutes played against Rhode Island, Kale, just 2 points. Ishmael Sanogo, 18 minutes and 4 points. And Mamukelashvili, 7 minutes and 0 field goals even attempted. In that Vanderbilt game, of course, Enzi had those 8 points, but Kale, 18 minutes, 0 for 3 from the field. Aaron Gordon, 11 minutes, no field goals attempted. And Mamukelashvili, 12 minutes played and just 1 3-pointer. So when you're looking at this team, they just need to be a little bit more involved on the offensive end. They're getting the minutes that they've earned through practice and through those first few games of the season. But now when you're playing tougher opponents, I understand that the Louisvilles and the VCUs, it's going to be tough to play against those just as a true freshman, but you need to continue to just play your game and your style of basketball. And I think those guys, when they see that after the past couple games, will be able to really do that.
And the Pirates have Louisville coming up on Sunday. And also, let's quickly shift to the women's here. Won the Shoe Thanksgiving Classic with 2 wins there. Jaquan Jackson named the MVP. Overall, from that entire tournament, what's your biggest takeaway from this team moving forward?
My biggest takeaway was it was impressive to see other players step up other than Denasia Fountain. She's very fun to watch. She's an exciting addition to this team. But it was very interesting to see players like Healy and Jaquan Jackson really step up and prove themselves to be important names to know on this team, especially coming out of the Shoe Thanksgiving Classic. So I think it's a very impressive thing to see other players coming up and scoring and being important parts of the team.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying about the depth, Chris. when you're looking at these couple games from this past weekend, Pirates had 12 of their 13 roster players play more than 10 minutes on the game against Ryder, and then 10 of 13 play more than 8 minutes against Jacksonville State. So Tony Mazzella is getting a lot of people involved, and that's really good for this team because they want to continue to just work off more than just Janasia Fallon and Taylor Brown, who have both been outstanding in their first years with the program. So you want to see some more faces get involved, and Jackson's going to continue to get into her form. And when she gets into that form, it's a really scary player to watch out for.
And we'll see a lot of that coming forward for this Pirates team. Next up is this weekend they have a big matchup with St. Francis, and then they get into the nitty-gritty on this non-conference schedule. Rutgers, Boston College, and inside Walsh Gymnasium, the UCLA Bruins, a nationally ranked team in the top 10, will be coming inside Walsh Gymnasium. That's going to do it for us here at Hall Talk. For Chris Famularo and Matt Lamb, my name is Matt Ambrose. Thank you so much for watching Hall Talk, and stay tuned next week for the newest episode.